So here we have the Irish police force attacking an indigenous Irish lad, beating him to a pulp up against a wall in an alleyway. And on the other side of town, we also have the Irish police force bending the knee and shaking hands to foreign people again. Is this not the embodiment of Ireland in 2026? Councillor Patrick Quinlan shared this video yesterday. I thought it was disgusting and vile, but not surprising, because this is what they do, this is what they are, and this is what we have to endure as Irish people. The establishment showing the full force of the law, burying an Irish young man in an alleyway.
I ran this hard your fucking hole.
You threatening me, are you? I'm reporting you. You're threatening me. You're abandoned me, you little fool.
You have to refill heroin and fucking coke. You shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Stop it.
I ran this hard your fucking hole.
Who's the hands up there? The birds.
That was an old stop and search there perpetrated by some undercover Gardaí. That's the tactics. I've seen that since I was a child. That has happened to me. And somehow or another, we're supposed to put our trust in these people to have our back and to protect and serve us. My bollocks. Blasting elbows into the face of a young Irish lad, pinning him onto the wall, all for a little stop and search. Hyper-aggressive treatment because he's Irish, and they despise us. We saw that in the last video covering the Irish Gardaí driving along talking about the fuel protests.
Just look, just sitting under complaints of them from asbestos with Irish flags, shut up their holes.
These establishment fools despise the Irish people. What about this clip from outside Ardnet's where there's a Congolese man lost his life and we're all supposed to get upset about it. We're all supposed to praise him as if he's the hero of Ireland. And I didn't think it was going to turn into George Floyd 2.0, but it looks like the absolute spastics here in Ireland are hell-bent on doing it, especially the Wakandans. They're out in force and then falling in behind them. Blue-haired LGBTQ freaks. Oh my God. Outside the store, Arnott's, we have some police that are protecting the store from Wakandans who are obviously wearing balaclavas, black bloc clothing. They're there for trouble. Then there's a little appeasement for the camera where they shake hands with An Garda Síochána. And imagine being this guy here with the bicycle helmet. Imagine being that cop who took the oath to protect and serve the Irish people. Imagine being him going home tonight to look at these kids in the face, knowing that, you know them scum that you see flying around on scramblers terrorising people? You know the big bunch of blacks that you see all over the internet talking about wiping out the Irish people? I'm out here shaking hands with them. I'm making peace with them because one of their own, who was a career criminal who shouldn't have been in the country, was a complete burden, got caught stealing. And I believe it was another foreign national that entered into an altercation with him. I have to come out here and do this for the camera. Whilst on the other side of the city, Irish people are getting blasted onto the wall with triple elbows. Two-tier system. 100%. I want to tell you an anecdotal story of an acquaintance of mine who recently went on holidays to New York City with his wife and 2 daughters. This guy now would be triple vaxxed, boosted to the neck, thinks that cultural enrichment is some sort of an important stance to take in 2026, but also knows that he could never, and says this overtly, never allow his children to go into the city or anywhere near it because of the foreign people. His words, not mine. I'm just relaying the story. He's in New York. He takes the wrong train. It's nighttime. He ends up out in a very, very shady part of New York City. Within 10 seconds of stepping out of the subway train, as you would expect with the Wakandans, his 12-year-old daughter gets kidnapped by a black man. He grabs her from behind. He strangulizes her. He pulls her backwards like 10 feet. There's a standoff. Because my friend is boosted and thinks that cultural enrichment and diversity is his strength, he stands there and does nothing. All he can do was utter a shout. Hey, stop it. And by the grace of God and the Wakandan who had his daughter up by the throat, he just slammed her on the ground and he ran away. Of course, my response to that was, you obviously chased him for like 10 blocks and did what you had to do. No. I just got back onto the subway. We were kind of shaken up for about 3 or 4 days, you know. The daughter doesn't ever want to go back into that neighborhood or into a subway or anywhere near a city again. All right. So I was kind of left there thinking, interesting. I'm not exaggerating. Within 30 seconds, he follows up that story with a story of, today in Ireland, I was putting petrol into my car and a homeless fella came over to me, tapping for money. Hand out. Do you have any change, boss? He said, I turned around as vicious as you can imagine. And I said, fuck off out of it. I fucking ran him. So I'm there like looking at him going, wow. Someone else comes into the conversation, it gets broken up and we go our separate ways. And I'm left thinking, of course, that is another embodiment of where we are as Irish people. What we saw these absolute scumbag guards doing to an Irish citizen is what this guy did. He felt emboldened to go after a young Irish homeless person that was looking for a few pound. But because it was a Wakandan who grabbed your kid up by the throat, you knew inherently that I couldn't do anything here because it could end up very, very bad for me. As in protecting myself or even retaliating. I could end up in prison, I could end up on the whole cancel culture shtick. So this whole George Floyd 2.0 Congolese psyop is just another tool by the media and by the government and by the elites and by other people to quell and silence white people and keep them in their box. Because if you go out in the street today and you start asking people, they'll come out with retarded lines like, well, you shouldn't die if you go into a shop and steal. They don't care about Irish homeless people who steal. They actually hate them. They despise them. One of the go-to lines you'll hear from dumb fucking Irish people is talking about junkies and homeless people. As I've said before numerous times on this channel, I've got friends that are homeless and that are junkies. I grew up with these people. One of them just had a stroke the other day, was found slumped over next to a bin. He's now in a home, he's never going to be able to speak again. Where's the vigil for him? Where are all the Wakandans and the blue-haired people protesting for him? Why was he left slumped over at the side of a street? Where was the services to look after that young Irishman? Or is it only the Congolese lad who was homeless and stealing that deserves some sort of praise and deserves services and deserved better? So for the boosted people and the cultural enrichment people and the diversity is our strength people that will breeze into this video, ask yourself a serious question when you're away from the keyboard. If it was an Irish junkie that died outside Arnott's the other day, would there be a vigil? Would there be continuous wall-to-wall news articles about it? Would you give a flying fuck if it was an Irish junkie that died as opposed to a Congolese junkie? Spastics are popping up all across the internet. These dumb Irish cunts. Irish people are just inherently racist. There's an inferiority complex because it's a black man and they feel sexually inferior to this black man. That's why there's racism. They don't want to protect Irish women. They don't want to protect Irish children. Are you fucking joking me? Irish people have always known that we have our own problem with criminality, gangland murders. We've known that. Nobody wants to live around any of it. We want to improve it. How does importing hundreds of thousands of more people in with the exact same issues help the existing issue get solved? Very simple question. When you're away from the keyboard, would you be out protesting if it was an Irish homeless man that died outside Arnott's? You know the answer is no. You wouldn't give a fuck. You wouldn't care. And that's where we are in 2026. You don't care about the Irish people because you have been indoctrinated not to. And you know that caring about Irish people can get you into trouble. And saying bold words can get you into trouble. But away from the limelight of social media, everybody knows it, everybody thinks it. So it doesn't matter that you have a George Floyd 2.0 happening in Ireland at the moment. Most Irish people don't give a shit. They don't care. But they're too weak to speak out.